Alright, g'day guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to go over some ideas and some techniques when it comes down to printing your photograph. Digital prints is a very important part of photography. I'll go through why in a minute, but what we'll talk about in this video is some different qualities of paper, some different sizes, some different frames, techniques when it comes down to prepping your image before you go to print. We'll talk about all that briefly as we go through. Now I've got a list here in front of me. What I'm going to start off with is a couple of my personal suggestions to why you should print your photograph. Everybody is different, but these are just my personal things. So I've got 6 here to start with. We'll start at 6 and we'll go down to number 1. So the first one is why should you print your photographs, and number 6 is to learn from your mistakes and to become a better photographer. Now the whole thing about photography, the whole thing about life in general is learning from your mistakes. Now, if I was to go out and take a photo, whether it be a job or if I'm just mucking around, if I'm just going out for a day, if I screw up, I'll never delete that image. I'll come home and I'll save it to a separate drive, and then I can go and print that, and I've got several images around my house that are just complete mess ups. Doesn't matter what it is, whether I had my exposure wrong, whether I had even some images where I didn't even have my lens attached correctly and I almost dropped the lens. So everyone makes mistakes. So a big thing for me is learning from those mistakes. Now I do print images where I screw up, and I learn from that. I personally think that's a really good way to learn. Number 5, in case your hard drive fails. As great as technology is, yes, it does fail. I've been in situations in previous studios where we had corruptions in the computer, hard drives have failed, and we've lost thousands and thousands of photographs. Now, I'm not saying that any single photograph you take you should print, but if you lose it on a hard drive, it's very difficult to get back. Data recovery for hard drives can be a real pain in the ass. Usually if you do recover it, there's some sort of a corruption, or you'll never get the full resolution back. Just from experience, it's a real pain in the ass. So that's number 5. Number 4, the cost. Because it's fairly cheap to do, digital prints doesn't cost a lot. Being that we shoot digital now, we're not shooting film, developing our images and printing them has become fairly cheap. I mean, places like Adorama Pics and MPix, online photographic printing stores, I'll talk about them later, they do it incredibly cheap and they do a really good job as well. So yeah, the cost, it's fairly cheap to do. Number 3, they feel and they look better. Now this is a big thing for me as well. I don't care what anyone says. If I see an A1 photograph or an A3 photograph or a 30 by 40 printed and I'm holding it in my hand, there is a big difference between that and seeing it on a monitor. I mean, I know Apple have some really great, like the iPad 3 and the new MacBook that's come out with the Retina display. The quality does look amazing, but when you hold a photograph in your hand, it's really nothing like it. So for me, that's a big thing as well. They look and they feel better. You get more of a reaction out of someone if they hold your photograph. Number 2, the completion of that photograph. It's done, it's dusted, and you're happy with it. To me, printing an image is the final stage of a photograph. You're happy with it, you've gone into print, and that's it, it's just completed. So you're happy with it, and especially when you've printed jobs, it's a really good feeling to get that out of the way because you don't have to worry about it anymore. So the feeling of completion is a really big thing for me too. The number one reason why I print images is for motivation and inspiration. Those are the 2 key words when it comes down to printing photographs. When I take a photograph that I'm like or I'm happy with, I get it printed and I get it framed. It doesn't cost too much to do because it motivates me and it inspires me to keep taking photographs. I've been doing this for a career for the last 3 years now, and I have to say that there's nothing more that I want to do in life. I mean, I love taking photographs. I'm very lucky. I have worked very hard, but I find myself very lucky to be in this situation where I'm truly doing something that I love, and keeping myself motivated is a very important thing to do because you can quite easily fall away from it and lose creativity, because creativity is very hard to find at times. So keeping motivated and inspired is a big thing to me. Alright, so that's just my personal take on that. Let's move on. What are some common print types? Now, these are just different ways you can print. So I've got a list here. You've got digital prints, which is, Obviously, they're all digital prints, but I'm referring to, you know, 5x7 prints or A3s or whatnot, and just the very basic prints that you can get done anywhere. Posters are usually larger. They're usually, you know, A2, A1, A0, moving into B format, so they're quite larger. Hard-covered books. These are also very cool. These are books that you can get put together, also referred to as photo books or portfolio books. These are the more expensive forms of prints are aluminized metal prints. They are amazing. They look really, really cool, but because they're metal, they're quite hard to transport and they're fairly expensive. Same goes for canvas prints and acrylic. I'm not a huge fan of canvas, I just don't like the material. Acrylic glass prints are very cool. We used to do a lot in the studio that I previously worked at, so acrylic does look quite cool. What are some good sizes? I'll have all of this information up on the screen as well, as you probably would have already noticed. What are some good sizes? Well, me personally, my favorite size is A3. So this is just a shot from the studio. I'm pretty sure you can see it. I'll have a close-up of it. That is an A3 print. Now, just for me, it's just a personal preference that A3 has been a preferred size. I just like the size of it. You know, it just feels good in your hand. A1. A1 is something like this. A1 is much larger. You've got A4, A3, A2, A1, all of that. I'll put a list of information up on the screen as well. So this was a shot that I did quite a while ago of the previous Razor team. I think you can see that there. Yeah, so that's A1. These are these are kind of like the movie posters. These are a little bit awkward to handle because they're a little bit bulky, but they stand out just because of the size. You know, they're a really, really large size. 24 by 36, it's kind of a smaller version of A1 as far as I believe, so it's a little bit smaller. 30 by 40, it's a little bit bigger. So all its sizes really depends on what you want to get. You don't want to get every single print done at A1 or A0 because it's just too big. Also for hard-covered books, my personal favorite is the 26-page 8x12 that Anorama Pix does. Quite cheap. This is one of my oldest portfolios. I got this done years and years ago. But the good thing about Anorama Pix is they do full-page spreads like that, so they come out really, really, really cool. So I know you can't see that, but I'll do a cutaway. So yeah, books are really cool. I find them to be sturdier as well. You can throw them around a little bit because they're protected by the hardcover, you know, which is great. What is some good paper? Now, there's all kinds of different paper, but my preference has always been with Kodak. I personally believe that Kodak have the colors come out better, the vibrance, the color for the saturation, everything just comes out better when you shoot. From experience, from when I've printed on Kodak. Now, Kodak have their professional paper, which is a super enduro paper. There is a couple of different grades of that. So you've got Lustre, matte, glossy, and professional metallic. Professional metallic has always been my choice. It's the most expensive of them all, but versing a couple of dollars extra, it's really worth it because it really stands out. Being that it's a metallic paper, there's not actually metal, it's not like a metal print, it's just the form of it. There may be some sort, I don't know the techniques of it, but, you know, there may be some sort of metal throughout the paper. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, but I mean, those are the best types of paper. So I mean, I would recommend going for the Kodak professional paper, which is under the Super Enduro range. They really stand out. They have a really, really good print. A couple of things to be aware of. Where I would recommend not to get your prints done is somewhere like Harvey Norman. Harvey Norman give you this. I asked for an A3 print just as a test, and this is what they gave me. What the fuck am I gonna do with this, honestly? It's a 24 by 24 inch piece of paper. The quality is not too bad. It's a 300 GSM, which is the weight of the paper. It's 300 GSM. The paper, the quality is not that bad, but they gave me a 24 inch by 24 inch piece of paper with an A3 print in the middle of it. I don't have a guillotine that's going to be able to cut that, so that was from Harvey Norman. I wouldn't recommend going there, and that was $31, so waste of money in my eyes. I mean, I've gotten prints much cheaper from the other side of the world that was almost quicker. These guys took them 2 hours to do this thing, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend going to Harvey Norman. Check out, maybe Get It Printed. They're a place just in Campbelltown. They're quite good. They got a couple of franchises across Sydney. So yeah, I mean that's basically everything. I mean this is just a really quick review again. I mean these are some of the A3 framed prints. I mean these are what I prefer the most. These I personally believe have the best size and the best feel to it, and you can put lots and lots of them in your house. You know, getting frames is probably the hardest part, but getting the prints done, you know, if you get them done at MPix or Adorama, it's probably the best way to go. Talking about that, Adorama is a printing company. They're also a photographic store over in New York, I believe they are. I would have to get probably 95% of my stuff done over there. They're very quick. The paper quality that they use, I mean, they use the Super Enduro paper by Kodak. They use a lot of their stuff, and I get a lot of my stuff printed as the metallic. And they're very fast. They're very cheap. They ship to Australia. I really would recommend going like that. If you know, you have to really find your own printer and talk to them and find out more information about, you know, prices and that. But I would recommend checking out Adorama Pix and also MPix. They're two very, very well-respected companies for printing throughout the world. A lot of professional photographers, a lot of the D-Town TV guys use them. So, yeah, I mean, I couldn't recommend them high enough. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'll go through. I'll do a quick cutaway at the end with some of these different sizes of prints, and then yeah, I hope this helps. If you guys got any questions, let me know, and we'll take it from there. All right, it's good seeing you again. Ciao.